For some reason, the fact that this trailer explicitly mentions there's an alcoholic farmer, something I don't think would happen in that other movie.
The first film ever made in England.
No,
the drunk farmer.
The drunk farmer.
I love that there's nationalism in the voiceover. The first animated film ever made in England.
Yeah, of course.
It's great. Everyone's like, I got to go see that.
You wouldn't do the drunk farmer. You would just show Gary Busey or like Randy Quaid. Like, enough said.
We know of new methods of attack. The Trojan horse, the fifth column.
Greetings and welcome back to another exciting installment of the Fifth Column Podcast. This is your weekly rhetorical assault on the news cycle, the people that make it, and occasionally ourselves. I'm Kmele Foster, and it feels like we've recorded 21 of these episodes this week, but we haven't.
Certainly
Obviously,
haven't.
They're just movie magic. Delighted to be here, joined by Matt Welch, Michael Moynihan, just it's wonderful to see you guys. It's been so long.
Yeah.
But we also have a guest with us today. And it is a guest. She's a fan favorite. She's practically family. Yeah. Tina Nguyen is with us. Your current affiliation is over at The Verge.
Yes.
Yes?
You change jobs every time you come on the show.
Wow.
It's only been like,
You
what,
need to underscore it.
4 times?
What, Vanity Fair, Puck, Verge. What was before that?
Vanity Fair, Politico, Puck, Verge.
You
But
see?
it's been like 8 years of me appearing on
This
this
is
show.
fair.
So
That's reasonable.
yeah, that's reasonable for modern journalism.
I would concur completely, Michael Moynihan.
And you have job, which is like,
That
Yeah.
is your real name.
great.
Constantly gainfully employed, leaving on her own terms.
Exactly
doing
right.
what she wants to do. And Tina, we're delighted you joined us today. This is going to be fun.
I'm so happy to be back, guys.
Yeah.
This feels like we have like a long-standing running thing.
We do.
Ooh.
Should we start this? Should we do the thing early, or should we
Do
wait
the
till
thing.
You want me to,
early.
this is the part where I sing Mrs. Jones?
No, what?
What?
Yeah, that's it.
Just we have this long running thing. We got a thing going on.
That
I just
No, don't cut it.
Again, I quit
wrong.
mid-show almost every episode.
So when it's at the beginning, it's kind
At
of
the beginning,
I
it's
get
like
it. I'm sorry.
the
We
rest
have
of
to
the
be
time-
extra
Yeah,
careful.
you take out the.
So very careful.
You got a gift for us.
all right. So
You've done this before.
I have done this before.
Yeah.
Every single time I've come on this show, I have brought a whiskey that is, for some reason,
Yeah.
decides to be like woman related. This is not like, women owned small businesses making whiskey or wine. No, we
Yeah, I
love
would
small
never
businesses.
drink that.
No, we don't
love women.
hate
Yeah.
small businesses here on
But we
this
just
show.
don't think they can make whiskey.
Well,
But
it's a high IQ.
Yeah, it's kind of high
procedure,
IQ thing.
you know.
Yeah.
but I got you this
Yes.
bottle because all I want
fancy
for
bag.
Christmas is booze.
Wow.
This is
Whoa.
Black Irish.
Black Irish
2 for 3.
Yes.
by Mariah Carey.
Wait,
What?
seriously?
This is Mariah Carey's Bailey's Irish Cream with ripoff.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
Mariah.
Let's go.
Yes.
Of course, Mariah Carey made the
at
Black
that.
Irish.
Yes, look at here's the
Yes.
promotional
Wow.
photo she made
Yes.
for
Wait,
it.
is that Mariah? That is not Mariah Carey.
That is Mariah Carey.
That looks like
Wendy Williams.
that's yes.
Yeah.
Nope.
I
That's
think it's
Wendy
Wendy
Williams.
Williams.
No,
Yeah.
this is
Could we
Mariah
zoom
Carey.
in on that, Mr. Producer? Is that possible?
Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely Wendy Williams.
No,
Someone
that's-
screwed up the photo there.
That might actually be Tommy Mottola
Actually-
in a wig.
No, those are
That's
Mariah's
amazing.
hips. Those are Mariah's hips.
Black Irish cream. It is the middle of the day, so this seems like an appropriate.
You,
movie over.
you mentioned like putting it in your coffee earlier.
Oh, I
and
have
thought it was-
coffee here.
Oh.
so-
Yeah.
Let me just do that.
Hey.
Tell me when. All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Not that there wasn't already whiskey in there,
Yeah,
but
I
you know.
Now it's now it's just like a
Oh, yeah.
Malibu.
That's some
and
like
there we
eggnog.
go.
Did you say mulatto? Is that what you said?
No.
It's a mulatto drink. We call this drink high yellow.
Mulatto.
It says
One, I did
says
not
Black
condone
Irish.
this. One, I don't condone this joke, but
What? But-
two, she did name it after her mixed heritage.
I know.
Is that true?
Yes, it's in honor
Mariah
of
Carey's
her.
black?
No.
I didn't know she was black.
We may need
What
to
does that
fact
even
check
mean?
this, but I'm fairly sure this is what is true.
Yeah.
This is truth.
But that's why I made the Black Irish clip
Yeah.
earlier.
Wow. I didn't know that Mariah Carey was black.
Cheers.
Out of my
Not.
Melania.
All I want for Christmas is
go.
Because nobody is.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah,
Only the
fun-
stars are real, Michael Moynihan.
Yeah, fun story about
Nice job, Mariah.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Wow. We want to.
Merry Christmas.
I endorse this product. I do. Thank you,
Is this
Tina.
in a
That's pretty
shot here, by the way? Should we get that bottle? Because I'm the only one that's thinking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Although, fun story about this. When she launched this brand, there is a whiskey brand in Ireland also called Black Irish. And they're like, wait, you can't sell in Ireland because we already own the copyright. She sued and she won.
Wow.
She sued them?
Yeah.
Just because she's rich?
And she needs to, sell Black Irish to the world.
That'll be the most amazing court case. She's like doing it like, and we got it like, and then she has these like amazing lawyers that are just crushing
Like,
them.
nah, kid. No way. I love it. Okay.
So what are you writing about these days, Tina?
I call it big tech versus big government. So,
Versus.
Sorry?
Versus.
Well, they fight. One entity wins over the other quite often.
Okay.
Sometimes it's government who's screwing over tech. Sometimes it's tech sneakily pulling one over government. It's all a wonderful big drama that hadn't really burst into Washington life until maybe the Trump administration. So when I first came on this show ages ago, I was covering like the rise of the MAGA movement.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, like this group has been the most sensitive to the growth and expansion and power that big tech companies have. So once Trump came into office, the initial thought was, oh my God, now it's time for us to take big tech into account. We're going to put all of these anti-big tech MAGA guys in the FCC, in the FTC. We're going to break up Google. We're going to fine all of the social media companies. And now fast forward to December, and Trump literally just signed an executive order giving AI companies the power to make AI without much regulation at all. So surprisingly,
how did that happen? Because you're the Steve Bannons of the world, and those are the kind of break up big tech guys.
Josh Hawley.
Et cetera. And then you have the second inauguration, and it was radioactive, the first inauguration. Nobody wanted to be around. But then, every CEO of every tech company is there. They're giving money. Google's there, et cetera, et cetera.
David Sachs is a prominent player.
David Sachs is playing a prominent role. And the crypto stuff has been, gone the other direction from, in my opinion, way too much regulation, particularly in this city. How did that switch happen? I mean, how did they win that battle in the kind of Hawleys and Bannons who, people think have an enormous amount of power within the movement? Do they not?
At this point, no. I mean, here's the dynamic that I didn't really appreciate until it really started happening, which is for Silicon Valley, they see this as business. They see building a relationship with Trump, winning him over, having that billionaire aura with him is like, okay, this is what we need to do in order to make sure our businesses are safe from all these regulators. And ultimately, Trump is the boss of every MAGA person who's in his administration who wants to break them up. So I did the story about YouTube paying a $22 million settlement to Trump for taking his YouTube channel offline during like 2021 or something. And they had initially planned on fighting it. Trump gets elected. They go back to his lawyers and go, you know what, maybe we should like talk about this now.
Yeah.
And they go to Mar-a-Lago, the YouTube lawyers and Trump's lawyers. I believe Trump was there as well, and they have a lovely little lunch, and then Google announced, YouTube, subsidiary of Alphabet, parent company of Google, announces, oh, we're going to pay $22 million in a settlement to this, and it's going to the Ballroom Fund.
Of course it is.
Oh, is it really?
It's going to the Ballroom.
I didn't know that.
It's going to the Ballroom
But
Fund.
so that's media, like, media organizations are doing this, settling on BS stuff like 60 Minutes. Law firms are doing this, settling on BS stuff. And then tech companies.
Universities, too.
Universities, too.
Yeah.
That's a colossal level of corruption, I have to say.
That's amazing. And we haven't
incredible.
gotten
I think
into
for
crypto.
tech though, they recognize that this administration is uniquely transactional, and I mean certainly during the first administration, Peter Thiel was one of the most prominent and substantial boosters and supporters of the
Speaker
Trump
of the
administration.
RNC.
And that pattern has continued. Like throughout their second term. I mean, David Sachs seems to be able to get things done for big tech, and there's certainly a lot of criticism that's been leveled in his direction that he's doing a little bit too much to benefit himself. How frequently are you texting with David in your new capacity?
Oh, I don't think he likes The Verge very much.
But I'm sure he likes
headline
you.
Why is
said
it
that
owned by a
you're likable.
Ukrainian?
I think there was a headline that said that David Sachs sucks or something like that. at The Verge.
Yeah, here's what I have learned.
What I have deduced from my own statements.
Yes. What I have learned about Silicon Valley is that they view Sachs and what he does in a very, very different light than the way Washington views Sachs and the way that people have status in both of these different cities.
Yeah.
So
More.
Silicon Valley is all about builders, right? Like, what have you made? What have you created? What is your product?
Yeah.
David's been on the founding teams of all of these major companies. I don't know if you could point to anything he has physically engineered or like manifested into existence. Elon has built cars and rocket ships and
Neuralink and-
flamethrowers.
Yeah.
David Sachs, I think, sold like
He has a podcast.
He has a podcast and he sold
That's pretty
and he
impressive.
sold a social media network called Yammer for like a chunk of money, which was, you know, good.
What a scam.
Yammer? America's great.
That's like
a thing.
something on The Simpsons. Yammer. You want
was a
Yammer?
thing.
Yeah.
It's like half social media, half like dating.
I don't. Was that a real? Did you know of this thing before?
Sure.
Like outside of David Sachs's history, did you?
you
like,
swipe
I've certainly
right
heard
on
of it.
Yammer?
I've heard of it before.
all
Yeah, before I
Yeah.
knew the guy.
Yammer.
Do you know the guy?
I mean, a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I live in SF and have been in those waters.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So please tell me that what I'm saying is kind of accurate.
I mean, I think your description is certainly your description.
Oh, man.
I'm not disagreeing.
Wow.
I just don't
Black
know that I have.
Irish.
I don't know that I have
Sip of
deeper.
Black
I don't know
Irish.
that I have deeper insight into what's
Get
happening.
some Xander up.
Yeah, I don't have deeper insight into the circumstance, so I can't really correct
What the fuck
or
are you
confirm
doing
it.
there? If
What
you
do you
don't
mean?
have, if you're
Now?
out there, get some insight. on
Marin
this
is
stuff.
beautiful. That's why I'm there.
God's
I,
sakes.
I no longer have the same associations
Continue
or
to-
affiliations.
I apologize.
Yeah.
So in Washington, however, like it is really all about who do you know and who do you have proximity to at any
Yeah.
given time. And David Sachs is incredibly good at having Trump's ear. He's really great at like talking to him, flattering him, being like, "Mr. President, you're super awesome,"
Yeah.
which is the quickest way for anyone to get close to Trump.
Has
these
Trump
days.
not realized this yet?
I think he knows, but he's also fine with it.
doesn't
That's
care.
how this works.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, David Sachs is a billionaire, and no one else in that administration working with him that closely is.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when you've got that billionaire aura, Trump trusts you way
Yeah,
more.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I mean, maybe this is a good place to transition because you also wrote about Elon Musk's relationship to this big Chris Whipple story at your former publication, Vanity Fair, where we've got this huge story that dropped this week, which was part of Trump's no good, very bad week in Washington, D.C., about Susie Wiles, who Whipple had been
Wilden, yeah.
has been working for almost a year. Sounds like since January. He's been talking to her on a regular basis, having monthly on-the-record conversations after church, of all things.
Which
apparently
he's
works
on TV,
really,
and
really
he's like,
well.
I taped them.
This
Yeah,
is-
don't. They're like,
well,
it never
this
happened.
is-
He's like, I
well, this
have
is the
them on
thing.
tape. Yeah.
The accounts, he described them as being astonishingly candid.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who's written a book about White House chiefs of staff and has talked to a bunch of them. And these are people who are generally very tight-lipped. And
she's no
is
slouch
spilling
either. She
great,
has a pretty interesting
This
person.
this is the woman who's been described, the Ice Queen, I
Yeah.
believe is what Donald Trump calls her and what a bunch of other people refer to
Yeah,
her
she's not like
as.
Omarosa.
Yeah,
She's
she's
not
supposed to
she's
be
like a
exceptionally
pro.
disciplined,
Yeah.
keeping the White House running, but she is spilling a great deal of tea about these internal beefs
Yeah.
and painting a picture of an administration that is constantly in this state of disarray with a great deal of infighting and giving her very candid feelings and appraisals of people like Elon Musk, of people like J.D. Vance. And things haven't gone particularly well for them this week responding to this. I guess Wiles posted something on social media, but we can get to that in a moment. But I'm curious, have you guys generally read this story? Were you aware of it? Is there anything that
Generally
stands
read.
out to you?
Americans don't read anymore.
I'm talking about y'all.
No, her descriptions of Elon Musk, what was it? That he's autistic, Something
the
rather.
I think that was a quote from me. Like anyone who's ever seen him on television.
Well,
but she did call him that? I didn't see that.
I don't know. The specific thing that stood out to me was her description of Doja's role in the USAID takedown and her both expressing her disappointment with the way he took a flamethrower to USAID, but also expressing her, it seems, surprise at both the importance of USAID to the kind of global the global effort to deliver aid to places like Africa, the fact that immunization programs just got taken offline completely, which has some consequence for people, among other things. So she talked about that. She talked about J.D. Vance and specifically talked about his political transformation on Donald Trump as something that was political in nature. Also described him as a decades-old conspiracy theorist, which, again, these are very candid appraisals that you would not expect from someone like this. And Wiles' denial, non-denial in response to this is a Twitter post, which is apparently her first Twitter post in years. And there's nothing in the Twitter post which says that, we've been deprived of context here.
This is the first sentence here is the interesting one, and it's the framing of the word framed. The article published earlier this morning is disingenuously framed hit piece on me and the finest president, here comes the flattery, White House staff and cabinet in history. The word to hone in there is framed. It's not that it was disingenuously framed. What I said, but the way they framed it, I don't appreciate.
Significant context was disregarded, and much of what I and others said about the team and the president was left out of the story.
No doubt.
I mean, certainly,
that's
I would
called
expect
journalism.
that most of it isn't in there.
Yeah.
But the question is, what specific facts were mischaracterized? What specific assertions are wrong, are false? They don't tell us. None of the subsequent statements
People in
have
MAGA
told us
world
anything
don't
about
understand TV or print journalism and editing. Like the Kmele Harris one, there was an hour interview and it was cut down to 15 minutes. Like, there was 3 segments on 60 minutes. They cut interviews down. And it's like, we said other stuff. It's like, but the boring, slobbering, isn't he the finest president, White House staff, et cetera. Yeah, that's not interesting. The other stuff she doesn't deny. And as far as I can tell, I don't know if anyone has seen something since today, that she's secure in her job. I mean, there doesn't
Seems
seem
like
to be
it.
any...
They have circled the wagons
They need her.
in a way that is very clear. I mean, you've got the press secretary who's making affirmative statements, J.D. Vance, who, again, directly criticized, making affirmative statements, talking about her importance to the White House, and Donald Trump himself. Also
he's the one that's ordering all these
interview
statements. I mean,
to the
he's the
New York
one that's
Post.
making people are circling the wagons.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you from the quotes that I've seen, I didn't read the whole piece, that he agrees with a lot of it, too.
Well, certainly.
Donald Trump absolutely understands that J.D. Vance is a political animal, that called him a Nazi and a fascist and all this stuff and is now his vice president. The thing about Donald Trump, who he said... I think he said it in the Mamdani presser. He's like, I don't give a shit what you say about me, as long as you're good with me now. That's just his. That's
unless
just his
your
MO.
son kills you, then I care.
Oof.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Which,
Is that
I suppose that would make it a bit more unusual, not even unusual, but bizarre for the president to take issue with this, considering he ignited perhaps the most consequential firestorm of the week by making some comments that were less than generous about a political opponent of his who was recently murdered.
Tail than people realize.
I would agree with that.
No
and I
one cares about
this will
Susie
too.
Wiles, the guy that did Spinal Tap, being absolutely horribly denounced by the president.
Yeah, this is like some really good old fashioned 2017 era Trump backstabbing.
That's what
going on.
That's what I feel like we had this by April of 2017 or March of 2017. Remember when people were calling it the Omni shambles? There was always nonstop leaking from everybody, backstabbing from everybody.
There has been too, yeah.
And there really hasn't been in the same way. It feels like in this Trump White House and this Trump White
That
House.
was your beat in the past. Does it feel different this time around?
Yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely way more locked down. People are less likely to start bitching. Way less bitching in Washington. Way more people going there's really no one who's able to oppose what Trump says. Therefore, there's no one I can really shank because ultimately we have to listen to the president. Yeah. And what would be the point of trying to get rid of someone I don't like if Trump's going to listen to them at the end of the day for whatever reason, because that guy might have Trump's number.
Is there a Steve Bannon of this term? I mean, Steve Bannon was briefly in the White House in the first term, and every Michael Wolff bit of information came from Steve Bannon. I mean, everything you could trace back to Steve Bannon. If you wanted to launder a piece of information into the media, you gave it to Steve Bannon and he put it out there. He talks to the press constantly, right? Is there a person like that now?
Susie
who is
Wiles.
Bannon like? It's like Susie Wiles is like. I mean, Bannon at least tried to be behind closed doors, and plausible deniability.
Maybe this is Susie Wiles' big brain theory. Like, no one else can leak if I'm the one doing the leaking.
Yeah, it might be and should do that. Classic Susie Wiles.
Classic Susie Wiles.
The evidence of the manipulation, though, is not quite there in this particular piece. And I think it's worth just talking a little bit about Whipple's playing the long game here, like developing all of these stories like over the course of time, maybe giving some pieces away to some of his colleagues along the way, but like just doing serious journalism here.
We forget about that because everything is in bite size on Twitter and fights between idiots and another idiot and Candace Owens and all this shit. And there are old guys out there, I didn't know he was old, but I'm looking on the monitor and seeing him, who do this kind of journalism. And we'll talk about it a little later briefly, is the Sunday Times Magazine piece on Jeffrey Epstein is an absolute labor and piece of journalism. And the interesting thing about it was there were so many new details that were available to anyone who decided to actually do journalism rather than sit on Twitter saying the Mossad and this, like all these, bullshit conspiracies, that we're still getting really, really good stuff, interesting stuff on where Epstein got his money, which is the big mystery, in this amazing piece of journalism in the Times. We talked about something, the boat stuff, the Venezuela stuff in the Washington Post.
Right.
I hope that people realize now the value of actual like non-political, non-ideological people going out there and digging for a year and coming up with, I mean, that's why New Yorker staff writers do a couple pieces a year, is they spend 6, 7, 8 months on
Developing
a piece
the story,
and they
yeah.
develop a story and a lot of
Cultivating
those
the
fall
stories.
through too.
That's the dream, honestly.
Yeah, the
Like
New Yorker staff writer job.
I get to do that kind of stuff at the Verge. She says as throat clearing. No, my first story for the Verge was like 4,500 pieces, like 4,500 words. Like no one gives a workday print journalist that much space anymore.
No,
it's also an advantage though from a reporting point of view, when you can go into a White House and say, "Oh yeah, I'm just gathering string for something that's not publishing anytime soon." This is why
that
everyone
false sense of security.
Everyone always on the right, especially yesterday. We're taping this on I think Wednesday. It's hard to say, but when this came out. They're like, why would you talk to Vanity Fair? That's a terrible idea. They're always going to backstab you. And they actually did people dirty with the photos. They took like close-ups of everyone's faces. It wasn't a nice thing to do. But the reason why is, one, of course, everyone is vain and they want to have their picture looking nice in Vanity Fair. I mean, it's every administration has done it. There is like zero exception to this rule, as far as I remember. But also, it's like with Bob Woodward, like. Why would you ever talk to Bob Woodward? But everyone always does, including Trump.
Bob Woodward released an audiobook, and it's just his taped conversation with Trump, edited together. The audiobook.
That's the audiobook?
The audiobook is the conversations he taped in the Oval Office. And it's beyond vanity. It's that, I think, is a huge part of it. But one of the things that people like in MAGA world that you talk to who freak out, why would you talk to Vanity Fair, don't understand in any way how Washington works. Washington, especially the MAGA White House, understands the value of conservative media, but it also understands the utility of the mainstream media. The number of people in the MAGA world that leaked to the New York Times that they denounced in the next day, and they maybe denounced something they leaked the stuff for, which I've seen happen, and denounced the Washington Post, they understand credibility. They understand OAN is not their outlet for credibility. That's for the tub thumping, people within the coalition, give them the red meat, what they want. But if you want to get something out there that is serious and you want, to kind of affect policy, you go to the New York Times. They've been doing this in the first administration. They do it in this administration. That stuff is no surprise that they talk to Vanity Fair. And it's only people that lurk on Twitter all day like, why would you talk to the liberal Vanity Fair? It's like, Why would they talk to the liberal New York Times? And the liberal on the actual news page is Wall Street Journal, which is not a right-wing newspaper when it comes to actual reporting. It is on the editorial page. Why would you talk to the Washington Post? It's because there's an enormous utility in doing so, and it's part of the game. And when you say, why do you talk to Vanity Fair, you don't understand the game at all.
Whipple's been out doing the media rounds since the publication of the piece, and there was this clip of him on CNN that I found earlier, and he's actually on with Scott Jennings, who one of the most capable defenders of the Trump administration. And I just thought this exchange was super interesting, so I'm curious about your reactions to it.
When you hear words like out of context and omissions and framing, what that tells you right away is that you have hit the target. They have nothing, they literally have not challenged a single assertion or fact in the piece. And so to me, this reminds me of Ben Bradley during the Watergate days, who talked about non-denial denials. Yeah. This is a classic non-denial denial. They're not contesting any of the substance of the piece because they know it's true.
Is that because you recorded the interviews?
And every interview was recorded. Everything is on tape. And so they know that they just can't go there.
All right. To you, Scott Jennings, when you hear the litany of things that were said by Wiles, who is perhaps the most trusted person when it comes to Donald Trump, what do you make of what you just heard?
Well, look, I don't care if Susie Wiles or anyone else in the White House has an opinion. Truthfully, I don't care if they talk to a reporter. I don't care if they do it on the record or for a profile. Everybody's allowed to have opinions. And when you put a group of people together, in a White House, you're going to have differences of opinions about things. Perfectly fine. The only person's opinion here who really matters is the president's. He loves Susie Wiles. But doesn't she help shape what he does? Of course. And she runs the White House and I think runs it quite effectively. I mean, the speed at which they've moved this time around has astonished all of the president's supporters. So, look, I view this as an act of transparency, and I get that some of these things have rattled the chattering class in Washington, but for the president's supporters out in the country, I don't really think this is going to bother them all that much. That people sat down and had some candid conversations. I mean, maybe they weren't quite expecting to hear it, but if the president of the United States says, "I love Susie, and she's our person, and she's our chief," he said it yesterday. He's saying it today. Well, all the Republicans have fallen in line, too. I mean, you're seeing many, many people come out and say the same thing about her. Yeah, saying, well, it's true because look, she ran a great campaign. Now she's running a great White House. I mean, to me, the biggest scandal of the day was the photos. I mean, why did they take I know you don't take the photos, but what was going on with the photos? They took these photos. They zoomed in on them massively. They edited them to make them look bad. Why? Why is Vanity Fair doing this with the photos, if not, but just to, try to intentionally, hurt people. So I don't have any problem with people doing interviews. I thought the photos thing was pretty egregious.
In active transparency, a little concern about the photos, which I'm scrolling through them now, and they're close-ups in a lot of cases. Some of them. I mean, this is just her in a corner, which is a little odd. J.D. Vance up against the wall, also kind of odd.
Watch your weather.
Really, really close up to the face.
Yeah,
that's not
the over close up. Those are not okay.
Yeah, I mean this is that's an interesting photo, J.D. Vance.
It's a crop,
but I mean, is that a misrepresentation?
I mean, no, that's what he looks like. Yeah, that's what he looks like.
It's an interesting editorial choice, I suppose.
I don't think anyone's going to hate the Trump White House because of the pores on J.D. Vance's nose. No. But it's so funny.
I mean, I'd still swipe right on that. I like that.
Oh, dear.
I like that.
I think that's a different episode. No, it's funny to hear Whipple say
again.
that they're, quote, Ben Bradley on the non-denial denial, and then throw to Scott Jennings, who, as you said, I think is very capable, and he's a smart guy, and probably, I mean, he's no Jeffrey Lord. Do you remember Jeffrey Lord?
He was terrible.
Disappeared, I guess. But that is a version of non-denial denial. What he was doing right after he said it. It wasn't transparency. He doesn't have to answer to anything because it's not him, but it's a no context is what it is. I'm going to provide context, and it's just blather. It's like people can talk. Well, no one said people couldn't talk. People have been doing that since the beginning of time beginning of Washington, D.C. in that sense. So like he just filled up airtime rather than saying, yeah, this is bad for the White House, this is good for the White House. I don't know what's happening here. Does this show some sort of dissent within the ranks? And just says people can talk. And when they talk, they use their mouth. And when they use their mouth, words come out. And those words, some people might like words and some people might hate them. And it's like, dude,
Do you
come on
think,
now.
Tina, that this represents something? Like, is there something about the timing of this coming out and the sharp elbowedness
Does
of
Stephen
her
Miller,
language?
by the way, before you say, does he ever not look evil?
No,
That's
It's
the
like
he
dude,
just
I mean, that's
he's
the problem.
he's
Yeah.
evil
He is like
and
a-
he looks like who he is.
I
Like
think
they
the White House did.
Blofeld's like number 2.
They
It's
posed for
unbelievable.
these photos.
Yeah.
Wittingly.
Well,
this
that's
is the
not
expression
a bad
he chose.
photo. It's just
No,
the way he
it's-
looks.
I understand. Yes.
the way
He
he
can't
is.
help that.
Yeah.
He could by not being evil.
Yeah. He looks like he wants to throttle a Guatemalan. That's what that look is. Unbelievable.
But does it signify something? The appearance of this story at this time, Trump, there's a poll out today that his national numbers on the economy are -21. Biden's worst were -22. Like, he's in not great shape. It's a shitty week for the White
Harry in
House. Is
here.
there something about that, or is it more you see more as coincidental timing?
I think it's a coincidence, but it's just because of the way that, like, one, the story started being reported out last November. So they start when Trump's elected, hits November, it's been a year. Two, magazine stories like this have to be locked down in advance for print.
Yeah.
Right.
Like weeks, if not like a month or so.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, like, this was already in the
Lawyers and
hopper.
fact checking. and all
Exactly.
that.
This was already in the hopper. This was ready to go on this week. Oh no, it just happened to be on the worst week ever for Trump. Like, this does not come together rapidly in response to, the news cycle.
Do you see, I mean, as somebody who was a very close watcher of this and knew so many of the players, first time around, and I presume you still do, when people get excited, there's always a lot of wish casting of like, oh, Trump's fucked it this
It's
time.
the big
and
one.
it never, it's the red fox policy.
Yeah.
You gonna be the big one? We're gonna tweet about Rob running. It's like, all right, that's kind of weird. But
I forget which one I'll say, but I think, like, if there is something to take away from this, it's that Trump clearly doesn't care that Susie Wiles is saying all this stuff about his staff.
and him, the
And him.
personality of an alcoholic.
But she actually, it's interesting. The
pretty good line,
personality
by
of
the
an
way.
alcoholic, Trump
Yeah.
confirmed that about him in the New York Post. And when she said it, she didn't say it in a way that was particularly derogatory. It was an assertion
Everybody
that
loves
this
alcoholics.
is this guy who believes he can do absolutely anything.
I think
know,
he
and
also
he's
has
just
said in the
driven.
past that he, like, alcoholism does run in his family, so that is why
brother.
he,
That's why he doesn't
that's why he
drink.
doesn't drink.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean you don't have the personality of an alcoholic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Too
but
many
that's, she's
presidents
not really.
drinking, by the
Yeah,
way.
that's a
She's-
bad thing.
recently.
but
We
she's
get back to
not-
Nixon.
Wiles is carefully, perhaps, and maybe authentically, not exceptionally critical of Donald Trump in this
He
piece.
barely shows up in this piece.
It's about the staff. It's about their dysfunction. It's about kind of some of the awfulness of even particular people like Elon Musk, which I suspect was probably an account given in real time, which when he was on the outs with the administration, of course she's saying bad things about him. The more strange bit is like the J.D. Vance stuff, which suggests that maybe Trump doesn't really love him all that much.
I don't
maybe
think
she doesn't
I don't
love him
think
all
he
that much.
trusts him. I
Yeah.
think that's different, and I think that a transactional guy knows a transactional guy.
Mm-hmm.
But
and,
it is.
and Trump has never, as far as I'm aware, has said, yes, he's the heir apparent.
No.
Like, he's been asked about this, and sometimes, Marco's all right,
Yeah,
too.
he
He
mentions
says,
him and
says
Marco
it's two
together.
in the same room. It's like
Yes.
he's like two in the same room. We'll see what happens.
Mentions
Like,
Marco.
he's not
Sometimes mentions
anointing
Marco
anyone.
first.
No,
Yeah.
but I think that Trump can like that story because he's not a focus of it in any way. But it's also Peter Lorre in the first scene of Casablanca, like watch out, there are vultures everywhere, in saying that you are in a viper pit. Trump likes that fighting among staff. It's a reflection of what he probably knows is true and doesn't affect him in any way. So provided it's about everybody else being a bunch of vipers, I can't see him. I mean, considering his vice president has called him a Nazi, I think he has a very thick skin. But the other ones, how those relationships continue after the White House chief of staff, an incredibly powerful woman in the history of chiefs of staff, is denouncing you publicly on the record, not playing that game of like, who could possibly have leaked this?
Yeah.
On the record,
Yeah.
there is, and people say, oh, I saw someone say, how could she be so stupid to talk to Vanity Fair? motherfucker, she is not being stupid. Everything here is deliberate. These people know what they're doing, and I don't know what the game is. I don't know if you think you know what the game is. I have no idea. But it is absolutely very plotted. It strikes me that.
Can I throw a question out? Pre-scandal, Olivia Nuzzi was someone who managed to get some pretty interesting exclusive tea from Donald Trump directly on the record. And similar sort of dynamic where people are like, why is he talking to her? And I think
ideas.
Here we were like, because he desperately wants to fuck her.
Yeah.
That's why. Do you suspect there might be something similar going on here? Was he perhaps putting some of the moves
Trump
on her?
wants to fuck
no,
No.
Whipple,
Yeah.
like playing some of this sexual healing in the background, just relaxing while they having a conversation after church, like getting a little close,
I think-
like knees
go
touch.
ahead.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? He's working her for a year. Come on, baby, you could tell me.
I don't know.
No,
about
I want to
I
hear.
don't think
I want to hear the tapes.
Don't see that.
I want to
don't
hear
see
the
that
tapes,
dynamic.
and I'm just saying I can't rule it out. He looks like a bit of a Casanova. That's all I'm saying.
All right,
He
well,
also has. He's also written a book about White House chiefs of staff.
But most of the ones he talked to were not actually in office at the time. This was afterwards, and they were not women.
You know, for someone who is so faithful to his wife, you sure do imagine a lot of other
He's
people's
so much
infidelity.
imagined.
Listen, a lot of people have infidelities, not me. Not me. But speaking of infidelity,
Do you notice? Here's a tell, and I'm going to make Kmele very angry in saying this. But Kmele's tell when he's lying is he starts code switching. You know what I'm saying? You get blacker. You're like, I ain't me. I ain't doing nothing. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I
It's
can't
like,
get blacker.
Yeah.
I can put on
You can vocally
the
get-
equivalent
yeah.
of blackface.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about what might be the best
Amazing.
the best thing to
Truly
happen
amazing.
to this administration all year long. And that is the release of this Melania doc trailer, which we watched a little earlier. I know you haven't seen
I
all
have
of it,
not
Tina.
seen-
I
just saw the conservator's Instagram page going, Queen!
I want to
yeah.
suggest that we watch
You're
this
about to see a
together.
podcast do the same
Do you
thing.
want to watch this in slow motion?
Yeah.
I
Kmele?
mean, no,
It's
I
already
want the
gonna be-
real thing. We can watch it again in slow motion. I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. I certainly will later while y'all aren't around. Let's just watch it and then get some reactions. I think this is a phenomenal piece of trailer filmmaking. But let's watch it.
Here we go again.
That's what makes it.
She says real studio.
You can come in. Come on in. My proudest legacy will be that of peacemaker.
Peacemaker in the fire.
That's the best. That shot is insane.
Beautiful. Together with like-minded leaders, we have a voice. Is it safe?
It is safe.
Is he saying? That's the only time in
Yeah.
Everyone wants to know. So here it is. Hi, Mr. President. Congratulations.
Did you watch it?
I did not. Yeah, I will see it on the news.
That's the best. That is the best.
I mean-
I just want to start by saying I have no opinions on Melania Trump whatsoever. I don't know. I'm an objective observer. Matt, how about you? You have any opinions on Melania Trump?
Don't know what you're talking about.
I know where I will be on January 30th unless we can get a screener. Gosh, it's a pity we don't know anybody who worked on that
No,
project.
I was saying. I was saying.
I mean,
to,
it's Amazon, right?
No, it's coming in theaters.
Yes.
Theater release. Yeah.
You need to see that on the big screen. It's a pity it's not in IMAX.
Yeah.
It's a pity. Look,
There was some talk about that apparently, but I said to Rachel that today. I said, "Will you come to see this movie with me in the theater in Manhattan, just so we can come in a little bit late and see who's watching this in Manhattan, who's going to see this documentary?" And I don't know who that would be. Do you think people will see this in the theater?
It'd be
I'm a go.
Kmele Foster.
I'm
is
gonna
who
go.
that's going
I'm
to
gonna
be.
go, and I'll do some reporting. That's why I'm gonna go.
Are you sure it's not
Obviously.
going to just all be reporters doing the exact same story?
Yeah, then I will say, look at all these autistic people who are watching the Melania movie.
I'm gonna.
What
tell
did you think of the trailer? Just as
Yeah,
far,
yeah.
like, what's your takeaway, Tina?
Succession, but with Melania
Correct,
IRL.
Yes.
I mean,
Did
Succession.
you like that heel shot? I think that was the most provocative of the coming down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
The only foul moment in that trailer was that she says, is it safe?
Am I going to be
Is it
safe?
safe?
And the guy, it's like a tight shot, and they clearly shot like 3 times, and he's like, "It will be safe." One more.
Yeah.
It will be safe.
Yes.
It's just like a totally constructed thing.
It felt constructed, but it also
Yeah.
felt wrong. Everything else gives you this sense of the power behind the throne. Miss MAGA. Like, congratulations, Mr. President. Did you watch it? Nah, I'll catch it on TV.
That's great.
That was dope.
I
So
can't-
why is she this moment of
Wait,
weakness?
have you
Is it
seen
safe?
any?
Maybe she's talking about the Ring of Power and whether he kept it secret. And
That
he
would
kept
be
it safe.
good.
Wait,
That
have we
would be
seen
good.
any
Yeah.
reaction online to this? Like, have MAGA people, are they upset at that
No,
They
last?
can't
they
be
can't
upset.
be.
No, but that
they're-
last shot is like, it's there. It's ending on that for a reason, right?
I mean, it's funny.
He's like, did you watch it? Did you see it? And he's like, I don't like to see the TV to the later times.
No,
It's
but she
like-
didn't have to call and say congratulations. I
I
don't
like
think
she calls her
I don't
Mr.
think they're
President.
upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
sexy.
I suspect she calls him that all the
That's
time.
great.
I like
I gotta
that.
run for office.
I'm
Make
going to
people
talk to
call me.
Tracy about calling me. Look, when I
That's
watched
the
it,
weirdest role play that you've just like.
Yeah.
There's
established.
been
I
a
don't,
lot.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's weird at all.
You're Trump.
I felt a little like what is that thrill go up your leg? I felt a little MAGA thrill go up my leg after watching that. I did. I'm just going to be candid about it.
I just is the thrill about MAGA or is it?
Melania.
Yeah, okay.
I just want her to stay. I don't care what happens after this.
I
Permanent
have made
first lady. Let's keep her.
one consistent comment about Melania through the length of the show, and it is that that the media hates Donald Trump. I mean, people could say we hate Donald Trump. We're very mean to him.
Yeah. Well, we hate everybody.
That they hate Donald Trump. That no one points out how hot the first lady is.
So
Like, this is wild. Like, we have a hot Slovenian first lady, and no one ever talks about it.
Well, she's not as visible as she was last time around. Last time
she's
around.
visible to me.
Well, I'm sorry. Her entire office building got destroyed for a ballroom. So
That's
true.
Yeah.
But she's mostly in New York, though. Isn't that the deal with her? I mean, she takes that call from Trump Tower, and I've seen reporting over time that she spends less and less time in D.C. and seems to be
wouldn't you?
not. Yeah, I mean, well, when your office is bulldozed, that's the first sign. But I would love to know. I don't know if I mean, I haven't seen the documentary. If there's any screeners or people who have reviews of it, if it shows that the power behind the president, because we have seen that for the first time in this administration, that Ukraine policy she was interceding on and saying, I think it was mostly about the stolen kids.
Stolen kids, yeah.
She's like, get the kiddies back. And he was like, all right, I'll do it. But I don't know. I mean, there's always that stuff. How many books have there been written about Jackie Onassis? Like, she had this outsized influence that people don't talk about. Eleanor Roosevelt was a classic version of that. And the most famous one is Nancy Reagan. And you had the astrologers.
Hillary Clinton, don't sleep on
Well,
her.
Hillary Clinton, she just actually became a politician.
Was Edie Wilson president or not?
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
there you go. Yeah.
Totally was.
Well, the other one couldn't talk or move, so I suppose maybe.
Direct descendant of Pocahontas, I learned recently.
Who's that?
Edith Wilson.
But you also told me earlier today that Pocahontas is like Attila the Hun with
She is.
respect to all of the descendants that she had.
100,000 direct descendants.
Yeah. I mean, that's some.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Attila, that was not what I'd compare
Wow.
it to. 100,000? Wow. She was just giving it out.
No, it wasn't
That was
her.
my
It was her-
first thought.
It was her.
But it's not her
It was her.
whoredom.
It was her
was her
like
brood.
itinerant son or something.
Yes.
Yeah, this is
His son
like,
was a Jamaican.
This is like the Jamaican. This is like the Jefferson stuff. It wasn't
funny 'cause it's
Sally
true.
Hemings goes to Jefferson. We just know it was the DNA from the family, so it was probably the brother. You know this theory too, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, that
No,
it
it
wasn't Thomas Jefferson that had a kid with Sally Hemings.
Nah, he was
It
gay.
it was like his ne'er do well brother who was just like hanging around. But either way, what else do we want to talk about? We got some.
Oh, I did want to point out the when we said earlier that it wasn't Amazon. MGM is owned by Amazon.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So
true,
now
yeah.
there's a little bit of Bezos. Bezos, what are you doing?
But wasn't
Bezos?
there was some reporting about that before, right? That there was Bezos, Trump, because of this documentary. Am I wrong in thinking
Yeah,
there
there
was some
there's
reporting
something.
about that? There had been some people whispering that it was like a payola documentary.
I mean,
kind
and
of thing.
it certainly can't be ruled out.
No.
Right? Like, and I have no information on that whatsoever, but it cannot be ruled out given the nature of this administration. If you're in the media business, you know that the Trump administration, and you have other business in the world, you know the Trump administration is going to have concerns about the things that you release.
Yeah, let me ask all three of you a question. Media watchers, you read the newspaper online. Washington Post, owned by Bezos, the hyperventilating when Trump was elected, Bezos is there making contacts with the Trump administration, and then they say we're going to change the instinct of the editorial page to free minds and free markets, right? Stolen from Reason. And oh my God, we've lost another one. And there was this, pearl clutching. From my perspective, I don't see that the Washington Post has become even friendly to Trump. And by the way, if you're free minds and free markets, you're not friendly to Trump.
Yeah.
But in the actual reporting has been very, very tough on him. And we haven't seen really any changes because, they fired, what's her name, the editor, and replaced with that British guy. And this was part of the conspiracy that it was going to be no free media left in America, and the Post had been taken over by MAGA.
I think the biggest story is not the politicization that has happened, but the just shrinkage. Like they are one of many, almost all newsrooms that are in a period of implosion, and so a lot of people took that moment to like, that's it. I'm leaving. Changing up the opinion section, basically like just swapped out all the humans who were there for the most part. George Will's still around, some other people. But
are they implementing AI content?
Yeah. I've seen some discussion about that. People are upset about it. I just think it's smaller and less potent and less meaningful, but is still doing, like as with the Venezuela story and some other ones, still doing meaningful work out there, right?
Yeah, I wonder, we forget about some of these. It takes a guy like Ajit Pai, I think he'll listen to the show, he used to be anyway.
It's a former guest too.
Former guest too, to remind people, which he did 2 days ago, with a bunch of screenshots of headlines about net neutrality. And it was like, internet's over, 2017, internet's over, the end of the free internet. And it's like, oh, how'd that work out?
Yeah.
We want to forget a lot of these things because the worst, most doom-mongering conclusions get the most clicks and headlines. And they're quickly forgotten about. There's no incentive to not do it because if you go back, the Post stuff was pretty pungent. It was like, it is over for the free press in America, and this is one example of it.
Wasn't that a period of time too where they were A/B testing the most the headlines that got the most engagement? The article would go out. It would go out under one headline. It would probably go out under another headline, whichever one got more traction. Everyone thought, okay, that's page views. No, it was actually the origin of rage bait. Great job, Washington Post.
Tina, are you up on the situation with Blue Origin, which this is
space?
Bezos's space project, which I remember when Elon and Trump were having their fallout. SpaceX has benefited hugely from the number of government contracts that it's been able to have. Its dominance in the private space transport space is pretty astonishing. And Blue Origin has been desperate to get in on the action there. Do you know if they've made any real progress there? Because they were making some attempts to try and get into Trump's good graces.
I haven't been following NASA contracts as. I don't say that as a joke. I kind of really would love to look at space lobbying. If there are any space lobbying interests and people who follow that stuff who listen to the Fifth Column,
slide
please
into our DMs.
Slide into my DMs.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, though, there hasn't been that much movement away from SpaceX. One, it takes a really long time to untangle yourself from those contracts. But two,
they have a huge lead.
They have, they are so far ahead of any competitor right now, and they did it faster than all the other companies too. Do you remember Virgin Galactic and how that's been around since 2006?
Yeah. That's right. They're done, right? That doesn't exist anymore, Virgin Galactic? I have no idea.
It may still be around, but they were never really doing the commercial stuff, so far as I know.
Did you see that picture of Richard Branson and Jeffrey Epstein?
I'm sorry, not commercial, but tourism.
Good one.
Yeah.
They were on the beach.
I think they're primarily, I think it was primarily tourism.
Yeah.
The getting back to the Elon but also David Sachs and why David Sachs won. Why did the tech bros, for the most part, win, although they haven't won on immigration just yet? But is it as something as simple and transactional as, I don't know, Elon Musk is kind of the single most important donor to Donald Trump's victory? Do they just buy their way in and win? Or do you think that they genuinely changed Trump's mind about what has been, arguably the most robust growth sector in the economy this year?
I think it's a little bit of both, but the second part is underappreciated. So just from my reporting, my understanding is that these billionaires, and tech industry titans are pitching this to Trump as you like building things, you like leading in the world, you like creating infrastructure, you're a builder at heart. Get in on this wave, help us do this, and you will be part of the AI revolution. And even if you don't quite understand the technology, that's really appealing.
Yeah.
So there's that part that's really resonant to Trump. And even if there are political people going into the White House going, wait, no, this is a terrible idea. Your voters won't like it. Parents won't like it. Red states don't like it. Blue states don't like it. Trump is just like, no, I want to be part of this wave. So,
that's the hard thing about a transactional president. I mean, you can imagine somebody that has a hard, ideology about AI. In particular, we had Kevin O'Leary on the show, and who's in DC a lot and has influence with Trump, and he was making the argument about the NVIDIA chips. And it's like, you can't sell these to China. And he's like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You should absolutely be able to sell stuff from China to China. It's not going to make a difference in the long run. And that was reversed, right? I don't think it was because of Kevin O'Leary, but I think there's a lot of people that don't want that to happen. And then Trump is okay with it happening. And it's 1 week to the next.
Yeah, and they can't, and no one can stay mad at Trump.
It's not just the tariffs and business complain like we can't plan. Because you want to do this, so we build factories here. Like you're going to change the tariff rate tomorrow, even if that was to precipitate people building factories in the United States, which it won't. It hasn't, as the Journal reported the other day. But this stuff is like really disorienting for these companies, and NVIDIA being like, all right, I guess we can't. Oh, yeah, you can. Okay. Clearly they're lobbying and everyone's lobbying, but it's not as if you're up against somebody who has a firm ideological foundation against this stuff, and you have to change it.
Exactly. That's the beauty of this president, in that you can go around everyone who I thought was going to be the ideologue, who was going to be like, we can put the hurt on you, tech company, unless you do this. Turns out the person who can put the hurt on them ultimately is the president, and the president is not going to. The president is going to invite them all over for dinner.
What is the dominant MAGA ideology now? It's changed over time. I mean, we didn't have the dissent of so many people before. I mean, it was before October 7th, but the anti-Zionism, the insane anti-Semitism that you see on the right, the Candace Owens and people like that, and it really seeping into the groundwater of so many people around them. So is that's changed? The foreign policy stuff has changed here and there over time. What is it now? Because it's so hard to tell. I mean, you talk to people in DC that I see stuff on Twitter. I'm like, I don't know who actually believes what anymore, or if they believe anything. I know the president doesn't, but is he encircled by people that have an ideology that is a coherent MAGA ideology now?
Honestly, I don't even know if you can look at an inner circle of humans that go in and out of the White House anymore. He picks up anybody's phones, like anybody's call, and people just text him all the time, and his mind changes so rapidly based on who he's heard from last. So, I don't know, it's whoever gets to Trump first, seriously.
My theory of the case right now, and this ties the room together with Susie Wiles too, and all the kind of Candace agonizing nonsense, is that it's all a succession fight, all of it. Like the effort now, which is almost 10 years long, of people trying to kind of invent a MAGA ideology to backfill Trump's popularity. Like, of course, MAGA is always going to believe in that we have to ban TikTok. Funny, we don't hear a lot about that anymore. Like that was a really, really strongly held belief 9 months ago, 12 months ago. And people are silent on it now. Why? Because he changed his mind, and they're not going to stay publicly mad at Donald Trump.
I mean, it talks about people
forcing the sale,
worrying about disobeying the courts. I mean, Trump was disobeying
Congress on TikTok.
Crazy.
And so all of these fights, like Susie Wiles is above these people who vehemently disagree with you. J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio have very little in common, except for the fact they've said the bare minimum to be able to work in the administration, which is, not nothing, but they disagree ideologically on everything. So they will fight each other by name or not by name in the meantime. But that's just because it's a fight for the succession. As it stands right now, MAGA is whatever Trump is, I think.
At the moment.
And people are like trying to imbue it with this idea about protectionism and and immigration restrictionism are the two things that are those are the minimums, and everything else is negotiable. But even those things are hugely negotiable too, right? Like the whole point about the way that he does tariffs is that everyone is the line is stretching down the block of people who are like lobbying for exemptions.
Or don't go after migrant farm workers.
Right,
which
like
explicitly said.
Right, or get soft on China in ways that surprise a lot of people. I mean, but from the chips, which weren't supposed to be sold, but Trump is like, yeah, we're going to sell them the chips. It's fine.
But like you take away his potency as a charismatic figure or someone who can keep everyone together, you remove him suddenly. Those are a lot of people who don't like each other, don't agree with each other, and none of them have remotely the same political pool.
Yeah.
They are so screwed, I think.
It's the succession is what's interesting. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Trump, we know the transaction, you can kind of trick him into anything. I think it's right. It's like the last person to make the indentation on the couch. It's like, the last person to sit there is what he's going to say for whoever comes in next. But not a lot of people are like that. Trump is a unique human in that sense. And DC attracts people that, they get corrupted by power and blah, 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 the swamp, et cetera. But whoever takes the reins next, I think will have much more of a clear ideology. I don't think it can be as transactional as Trump. I could be wrong about this, but if you look at the people out there, J.D. Vance is the most ideological person in that White House, and he's the vice president. And he might be the one that becomes, the nominee. Who knows? Marco Rubio has always been very ideological, pliable, obviously, because now he does what Trump wants. But I think in the background, everyone's trying to cut him out. This is always this reporting of like, get Rubio out of there because he wants to attack Venezuela because of Cuba and because of his neocon.
He's going to win on Venezuela.
He's going to win on Venezuela. But whoever's next will have an ideology. That's just the interesting thing is what will it be?
Yeah. Lots of places we could go. We still got some time on the clock. I want to just throw it out to the table. Don Bongino, a lot of reporting that he's cleaning out his office.
Dan Bongino.
It's Dan?
Yeah, you just called him
Don
Don
Bongino.
Yeah,
it's close.
I think that's an Italian restaurant in the Bronx.
Let's just go with it. It's fine.
You're like a
so
Don Bongino.
He's cleaning out his
He's
office.
a good.
You come to me on my final day at the FBI.
On the day we give you the binders of the Epstein files.
The Trapper Keepers. So we've got that, and we've got what else is going on?
It's weird that you hire a podcaster who used to be like a Secret Service guy. Was that he was before?
From the Secret Service to podcast to
and he
co-head.
Can't really cut it. And then says to Sean Hannity, well, yeah, I said that before because I was getting paid to say that. I was like, dude. And then he was like, you took me out of context. And I was like, I watched the clip like 7 times. That's
Didn't he also say something like, this job is so hard?
Yeah,
I
he
miss
said
my
it
wife.
recently.
He's given a couple of very pained interviews.
Yeah, it was like his
I'm
therapist,
separated from my family. He was like far away. This is I'm getting choked up now. It's a really hard, demanding job. And it's so hard. I don't know. So we could talk about that.
I don't think he cried, but
I think he did.
He choked up. He choked up.
I think he did. He almost cried. Yeah, it was his.
Which, by the way, you should be fired from the FBI if you're crying on camera. Sorry.
Real
There's
FBI
no crying in
agents don't
FBI,
cry.
as Tom Hanks would say.
That's true.
Someone mentioned Candace, which alludes to, I think, Candace Owens having this interesting meeting with
Could care less.
the widow of Charlie Kirk. Maybe worth talking about, but it sounds like no. New Animal Farm trailer dropped, and we could just turn this into a movie review.
I haven't seen it yet.
I
you
learned
haven't?
some-
Oh, we should watch this.
Close up on Moynihan's face.
Wait.
Real close up, real Vanity
I
Fair
haven't
close
seen
up.
this.
Yeah,
I
get a
don't know.
Vanity Fair.
My pores are looking bad. It's like a Vanity Fair portrait if you get close.
Just the nose.
All right.
Hi, Lucky.
What's up?
We are going on vacation.
I do hope it's somewhere good.
What does that say?
Laughter House!
That sounds awesome. I love to laugh.
It's a slaughterhouse.
Look at all this deliciousness. They want this.
Do you want to be food, or do you want freedom? Then let's fight for it. We're free. Whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy.
4 legs, good. 2 legs, bad.
No animal shall wear clothes.
Huh? What? We're show pigs.
And all animals are equal. Animals
Running a farm? I had to see it for myself.
Thank you. Aw, so cute.
Activate cute eyes.
I'd rather gouge them out.
I want that farm.
We should move into the farmhouse. So the humans know we're in charge.
You are about to become my new best friends. Pigs and humans working together. I like the optics.
Oh, we love the optics. What are optics?
I think it's a kind of seafood.
You're wearing clothes.
Would you look at that? I am.
Everything's different, but we're still friends.
All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others.
This is our home.
Squealer! I parked the car! Let's have no one do that again.
Animal Farm, a cautionary tale. In theaters May 1st. Recommended for ages 11 and up.
What the ever-loving fuck was that? Are you kidding me?
Moynihan, you're not enthusiastic about. I thought you would. Aren't you an Orwell fan?
I am absolutely blown away by that. There's just not enough in there for me to get really mad because I don't even know exactly what's happening.
It feels
What's
like
the human
DreamWorks.
collaborators?
It's the human collaborators of really DreamWorks animated studio non-seriousness of it.
Well,
For me, it was the evil capitalist who's the
Here's a
villain.
dollar.
The tech bro pig.
Yeah, the tech bro pig, which was exactly what Orwell had in mind. He foresaw this stuff. It was not about Stalin. I mean, of course, every character in
Would
Animal
Stalin
Farm,
have been a tech bro?
no.
Actually, no. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't have. He
No,
wouldn't.
he
I'm
would have been
sorry.
a murderous Luddite, which he was.
Tech Bro should bring back that mustache, though.
That is astonishing because, I mean, every character in Animal Farm correlates to a Soviet, very direct. I mean, there's a Trotsky in it. There's a it is astonishing. I don't even know what to say about that.
this.
Like, I'd have to watch, but the first thing I'm thinking is my daughter and I read Animal Farm together, and she was reading for school, and I was in bed with her at night reading it and explaining, kind of how it was working, and she got it, and she was really interested in it.
Communists are really terrible.
Yeah, that's something
Is that the takeaway from the trailer?
I thought we could all agree on. Did Zoran Mamdani's mom make that movie? That is unfucking believable. But she also loves, I was saying in the last Members Only we did that we went to see Zootopia 2. And I know she's going to want to see that with me. And I'm going to have to be like, I can't.
Yeah, no.
And I don't know how to explain it.
Not with
to
your
you.
medical condition.
I cannot do it. My blood sugar just dropped. So
This is not canon.
Has anyone seen? Has there been a review of this movie?
It's not out yet.
No.
It's not, but there's usually.
there's
beforehand
been
you get
a
to see it.
visceral response to the
Yes.
trailer, and I think it's on
I
a couple of different
felt it.
Amazing.
levels. Like there's certainly the fact that it's just weirdly upbeat. Like, it is a dark.
It's a very dark book.
story.
It is a very dark book.
I've tried to introduce it to Leah, and we've read like some hard things like Call of the Wild, which I'm reading and kind of editing as we go.
Yeah, it's a bit rough.
She still doesn't know exactly why. Like Buck is off on his own at the end, but at some point she'll get that. So that's the first thing that like kind of took me back, but the weird introduction of the human collaborators, the clear anti-capitalist ethos, and especially for me initially, it was like Angel Studios. This is a Christian movie production.
Oh, is that what that
company.
is?
Yeah, they're new. And my suspicion was, this is in the hands of conservatives. I was anticipating something.
Wait, are those the guys who did The Chosen? No.
That might be right. I could look, but maybe someone else will check.
That is astonishing.
But
when Orwell wrote the book, it was published in the UK, and they sent a copy of it to an American publisher. And an American publisher responded with a letter, and I think the letter still exists, that was so fantastic. And it said, Americans don't like animal stories.
Yeah,
we
that's
don't
right.
think they're going to be interested in stories about like pigs and. And, you know, it's obviously a 2-week process to send a letter and back. And you can see Eric Blair opening that letter and being like, I don't think you got it. Just one more time. Because it's very explicit. I mean, the book is one of those great things, like it was like The Simpsons. When my daughter watched cartoons, she loved The Simpsons. And I was like, this is the great thing. And movie studios started getting that both a parent and a kid can enjoy.
Right.
And that's what Animal Farm always was. My daughter read it in 7th grade. And it's this great allegory that also works on its own as a story.
Yes.
And that is very different in the sense that it's making it much more explicitly political. Because Animal Farm is explicitly political, but you have to know what's happening.
That's right. Yeah.
You have to know that there's the split in the Politburo, and after Lenin dies, there's the battle between Stalin and Trotsky. Trotsky's abroad, fighting. All of these characters exist. And obviously Orwell was a socialist, social democrat. And people misunderstand that too. I saw on Twitter like one mention of this, and they said, well, actually Animal Farm is an anti-capitalist book. And I'm just like, I don't even know where to start with these people. But Hitchens used to call them the body snatchers. Orwell body snatchers is that people on the right and people on the left always claimed Orwell and both really misunderstood Orwell and what he was trying to do. And it's a guy where you have the diaries, his diaries. He was a newspaper columnist throughout the 40s too. I think it was The World or something.
And made commentaries for the BBC.
Made commentaries for the BBC, ratted out people. It was very controversial. It was discovered long after he died, which there's a very strong defense for, of telling the British government who within the public broadcasting service and within, his literary world that should not be trusted. People who were very pro-Soviet and in some instances were actually Soviet agents. But you have to, compact these things for Hollywood, but that's not compacting something. That seems to me, and I don't want to say it before I've seen the movie, but when you have the shiny cars and the dollar bill being handed of this sort of bribery kind of thing, that's not the book.
Yeah, it wasn't the money that corrupted the pigs.
No, it was not. It was not the money that corrupted the pigs at all. That is not it at all. And look, you can take, I always get mad, we've talked about this in the past, there would be Scarlett Johansson playing a character that was originally written in a manga thing that was Asian and there was some, I don't care about that stuff. You do whatever you want, make a black character who was initially white, whatever. But the entire premise of the book, the reason for the creation of the book is that idea. And to take that idea and actually flip it on its head is an abomination. And I don't know, again, I want to,
and it kind of,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it could just be a bad trailer.
It looks like it has a happy ending.
Bad trailers happen.
But it looks like there's like the third act is going to end with like the animals do like a great thing and come back.
Yeah, and collectivize the grain.
They collectivize the right way.
It is actually a pro-Soviet movie where they shoot the kulaks at the end.
We figured out socialism that works.
Unbelievable.
And something about the Seth Rogan stoner laugh.
Yeah.
Like makes it, I don't have anything against
strange casting.
I have
Seth.
an enormous amount of things against Seth Rogan. He sucks.
I just don't like this be like a story that's supposed to be this classic turned into like it's a timeless story, but now it's like going to be so dated, and it's not like a thing you can show your kids in the future because most of it's going to be like, "Mommy, why do people dress like that? Mommy, what's this technology?"
Yeah.
And also, why is that same song in all the animated movies?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's funny. It's upbeat. It's not an upbeat book.
Yeah.
This is not like, it makes it sound like this fun. I mean, obviously you're going to try to attract kids to this, not like this is a grim kind of thing. But, Orwell's stuff is kind of unfilmable. I mean, there was, I think Jason's queuing it now, there was a
1954.
There was a 1954 animated version. There has been a 1984 film too.
God, look at that.
But the 1984, and before we look at the one from 1954, 1984 is a book that I could imagine being filmed and made into an anti-MAGA thing, right? I could see
you could
people
do it. I could
trying to
imagine
do that.
someone trying to do that,
which
would
I would
also
be
a
very
mistake.
offended by.
Yeah.
But that one is so much more explicit in its
Yes.
anti-totalitarianism, which, I mean, I think that
And its
84
bleakness.
Yeah, it's
Fucking
bleak, and
Yes, it's
Oceania is bleak, and
Yeah.
Winston Smith is a desperate character, and he's with a woman, and there's betrayal, and again there's a Trotsky figure. I mean, it is the thing that occupied Orwell's brain in a sense that where he always said that we understood that fascism was a disease that needed to be eradicated, and it was going to kill a number of people, and was in the process of doing so. But there wasn't an intellectual class that was influential within the BBC, within the arts, within literature, that was supporting fascism. There were very, very, I mean, there was actually one book, a collection of essays in 1937 or 38 called Writers Take Sides. And it was about the Spanish Civil War. And I think there were only 2 writers that were pro-Franco, and one was Evelyn Waugh, which is unfortunate because he was a Catholic. He had just converted to Catholicism. But that wasn't a common thing.
Right.
So if you can make these out, I mean, it's very, very specifically about these types of ideologies that intellectuals can swallow whole and pretend it's not what it actually is. And you couldn't do that with 84 in the way that I think that you probably can a little easier way with Animal Farm.
I mean, some people have over the years taken the 1984 just to sort of be against the corporate surveillance state and stuff.
I mean, the Apple ad.
The Apple ad,
yeah, is the classic version. Let's look at the
Let's watch
trailer
this.
for.
Look at that face, my God.
Yeah.
Angel Studios could never.
Yeah.
Already much more menacing.
Here is a cartoon with a difference. The first full-length cartoon film to be made in England. Produced by the brilliant team of Hallis and Batchelor, it has been acclaimed by New York and London critics alike. It tells a compelling story for every adult. Yet it's assuredly a film that every child can enjoy. Come and visit Animal Farm, where all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Meet its quite extraordinary inhabitants, the wise and wishful old Major. Napoleon, a pig of a dictator. Squealer of the sly eye and lying tongue.
Long live Napoleon!
And Snowball, who is hounded out of his animal kingdom. You'll love Boxer, who works like a horse. His faithful friends, Benjamin the willing donkey, Muriel, who acts the goat. Then, of course, there's the drunken farmer, Jones, who gets his just desserts. And Whimper, who wangles and barters till it hurts.
That seems anti-Semitic.
Remember then to visit Animal Farm.
For some reason, the fact that this trailer explicitly mentions there's an alcoholic farmer, something I don't think would happen in that other movie.
The first film ever made in England.
Yeah.
No, the drunk farmer.
The drunk farmer.
I love that there's nationalism in the voiceover. The first animated film ever made in England.
Yeah, of course.
That's great. Everyone's like, I got to go see that.
You wouldn't do the drunk farmer. You would just show Gary Busey or like Randy Quaid. Like, enough said.
Yeah, Jason, have you seen that? It's great. Okay, I haven't actually watched that.
Is that right? Never?
Oh, good. I'm fine with that.
You've never seen that?
The animated one?
I've never seen it either.
Wow.
I've never seen it.
It's really good. I have a couple of thoughts. One, I mean, just seeing like Boxer again, like he is the most tragic figure in the story. If I'm spoiling this for you, you're a moron.
You didn't go to American school.
But I mean, like the true believer. Like the earnest true believer who gives themselves to the project and is martyred for it.
Yeah.
Like that's, how can that be in the Angel Studios film? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's in there. I don't imagine how you can completely lose that.
Orwell
it's like the heart of the story.
Was like very keen on telling those stories because he fought in Spain. And his best book is Homage to Catalonia. I think it's his best book. And it's an underrated book. And he was also shot in the neck and almost killed in Spain. And what he realized in Spain beyond, I mean, he'd been seeing this with the Soviet Union, was that all of those groups that he was part of an anarchist group, were fighting each other. The Soviets had funded destroy the other groups before you destroy. I mean, it's essentially, I mean, it's a less complicated than that, but destroy the other groups before you destroy the Franco's fascists, which is, of course, one of the big reasons they lose. And that when you see these kinds of things, like, the true believer is the earnest person who goes to the Soviet Union. And so many British people, American people, went over for factory jobs or because they were ideological fellow travelers. And so many of them never came home because they were arrested as wreckers, which was the word they used, in the factories, and spies, and put in prison and gulags and executed. And Orwell is amazing on this stuff. And that's the great joy of reading those newspaper columns and essays in stuff like the very, very famous ones like Politics in the English Language, which if you haven't read is, I think, one of the great essays
Look
of the
for
20th
his
century.
look for his collection of essays and reviews and speeches from 1940 to 1944. It's the second volume, I think.
Yeah.
That oftentimes is under the subtitle, I think, "England, My England."
Yeah.
It has this famous essay there, whose name I'm now forgetting, but talking about patriotism and whatnot. Just tremendous, but it has that entire period.
And I read a very long thing for the Washington Examiner last year about Orwell, about a new Orwell book, was just like basically a long essay about Orwell. So anyway, we don't have to stick on Orwell.
There's the second thing though was the just the persistent resonance of like classic films. And I'm thinking of, Snow White, like 1937, this movie is made. And I've watched this with my children. Like, we still care about these films. And this movie, you could watch it today.
Watch White
and
Christmas
it would still
last
work.
night.
Kids would care about it. Like, we watched the Charlie Brown movies. It is interesting, like, with so many people investing in politics and culture who want to have this kind of transformational impact on the culture, who hope to project ideas into the future, that they are not investing tons and tons of money in just telling really great stories and producing them in high quality ways that are likely to resonate for generations to come. Like, that is the opportunity. And perhaps I shouldn't say it aloud because the wrong people will perhaps take those messages and run with them, and perhaps already are. But the right people should
they
be
can't
making
make
those
good
investments.
films, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's because they're
Yeah, it's
ideological
impossible,
first in many instances,
Yeah.
although
There used to be
Orwell manages to get that right.
There was always a problem with conservatives. There was a guy who, you'll probably remember him, James Bowman. Do you remember that guy? He was a
Remember the
writer,
name.
and he was the American Spectator, and he was the film reviewer, I think, for the New York Sun when that was around, and did the thing that conservatives, why they could never control the commanding heights of culture was because they would watch any movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off or something, which was actually written by somebody who was kind of a conservative, John Hughes, but would be like, well, as a conservative, and they would judge every shot from an ideological perspective, which is actually the most Soviet thing you can do.
Yeah, that is.
Is to look at everything through that lens, and it's like, should conservatives watch this? And I'm like, do you want to be entertained?
Yeah.
Or do you want
the aesthetics
some
first,
boring agit-prop forever? And that was always the problem with conservative films, is that the conservative was first and the art and the film was second.
Yeah, I mean, I did a really, really early feature on the Daily Wire back in 2018, 2019 or something.
Wow.
And that was back when Jeremy Boring was still the CEO, and he really wanted to throw a lot of money into creating conservative art and culture. He's no longer...
They have, though, but they did, and they were successful, right?
The company's worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
Jeremy is gone, and I am not quite sure why. It may have had something to do with the projects he was investing in, with no immediate monetary results. But I was talking, going way, way back to the origin of it. I was talking to one of their friends who was the founder of Friends of Abe in Hollywood, which was that
conservative group.
Yeah, it's a conservative group of artists in Hollywood that.
So it was Gary Sinise and two other guys.
But he told me that there was a big argument in the group about how you convey conservative ideals through art, and do you focus on craft or do you focus on message? And he was
interesting.
And the guy I talked to, name I'm forgetting. He said I was always arguing that you need to tell a good story first, and the values are portrayed through the story. What seemed to happen, though, is that a lot of money and investment and, brain power went into, we have to do the message. We have to go on the ramparts. We have to, we have to use the culture to fight. And then just it became ideological. And when I look at this trailer, I'm sort of like, it seems like you want to package a message, but your first concern is can we make this message friendly for children and safe?
And upbeat
and safe.
soundtrack.
It's
and,
aesthetics,
safe
it's
for the
glamour.
children.
Yeah.
I mean, the two most conservative, quote unquote, movies that I can think of, you have to get in arguments about whether they're conservative or not. It's not like it was produced by what's his name? Who's the guy that did Red Dawn, whose daughter worked for Trump? John, the Greek guy, Milius, right? John
Milius.
John
Yes.
Milius.
Yep.
Like, who is like an explicit conservative. He's also a total fucking lunatic, which was fun.
And pretty
and
good
had
writing.
like would drive around with a trunk like full of shotguns. He's like a crazy character. But he's a conservative guy, but he's also a nut and wants to make good films. But The Incredibles, when that came out, I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting.
Pretty libertarian.
Pretty libertarian, yeah. I would say, non-liberal, I guess. And then the other one, which I never realized at the time because I was 18 when I saw it, and I was going to Europe the next day, it's true. And I went to the cinema in
Barcelona is what he saw.
Yes, I saw Barcelona. The Whit Stillman movie Barcelona, which is an amazingly funny, like tense movie. It's got a bunch of, but there are a few explicit things in it, but making fun of European anti-Americanism. But taken as a whole, you're like, oh, this is a guy. And then you come to find out that back in the day, he wrote for the American Spectator. Now he's a big hater of Donald Trump. And I don't know if he's very political anymore. But there are not a lot of explicitly conservative movies that are, ideology first, that are good. That I can think of. I can't think of any, actually.
Well, I mean, that great Atlas Shrugged movie.
Oh, wow. I remember that was a thing.
Too soon.
That was shot on a camcorder. Yeah, it was like a Sony Handycam.
They did complete the trilogy, although the quality of the films got progressively worse.
But
Like
also
the
keep
cast
realizing-
kept changing.
Wait, which was
They made a Gary Cooper.
It's
They made a Gary
independent,
Cooper with the
I think.
fountain. The fountain.
Oh,
Fountainhead,
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
with
Which
Gary
people
Cooper.
say is good. I've never
Yeah, it's a pretty
watched it.
good movie, and it's a very explicit book. So it's
I mean, the Green
movie.
Berets was a bit
That was one
little ideological.
of two pro-Vietnam movies. There was another one I always forget, but keep in mind that during the war there were 3 explicitly pro-Soviet movies. One of which was written by Lillian Hellman, the horrible writer, novelist, lover of Dashiell Hammett, who was also a unreconstructed Stalinist her entire life.
There was one positive thing I saw in some of the reaction to Rob Reiner getting murdered, and of also Trump's tasteless comments thereof, which was from a lot of right of center writers and friends of ours and such, which was just they immediately rejected the instinct to ever look at his movies through an ideological lens.
James Woods.
James Woods went on CNN, and it was actually really moving.
It was on Fox, actually.
Was it Fox?
It was crying.
Oh, it was with Jesse Waters, who I've criticized before. Was crying and talking about the kindness of Rob Reiner and like helped sort of like saved his life because Woods a little touched.
Yeah.
But also just people reacting to his movies and saying like, what are you doing? Those movies are just great. And like, what kind of blinkered person would worry about how he exerted himself in politics in ways that you didn't like? Like, just those movies are great.
I mean, he was an expressly political guy that was out and very vocal, fundraising, et cetera.
And also starred in All in the Family, which is a pretty political, although it was adored by conservatives.
Yeah, it was, as we found out the other day, Richard Nixon. But it's at the same time, you look, everyone was screenshotting this run of his movies in the 80s. Which I didn't even realize, The Sure Thing, which is a
Sure Thing was great.
movie. I didn't know he directed that. But you look at every one of those great movies, and I would be hard-pressed, from memory anyway, to find any politics in any of them. I don't know that he was making movies that were expressly political in any way. I mean, a movie with his son who murdered him that was about his son's addiction.
That his son wrote.
Oh, God.
And like,
it's real bad. It's really, really
I
bad.
think that one of the real perversions of modern politics is when you're doing it online and getting involved in this. Candace said this and blah, 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 fighting on Twitter endlessly, blocking people, the hostility of it. People forget that most of the world has friends, not family members. Family members you can't divorce. They're part of your family. Have friends that well, you can do that too. But friends are easier to walk away from if they have different politics. It's still rare that people lose friends and divorce friends and exile friends because they disagree with them in politics. More common in the Trump era, I'm sure, but normal people don't act this way. And that when people say Twitter isn't real life, which I argue because of Trump, it actually is real life. But the thing about it is that normal people don't it's not that they don't care about the stories that we care about, because they probably don't. But it's they also don't take politics in this blood sport way.
I saw a phrase, and I think it's correct, is like this story, the outrage, meaning Trump's reaction, the outrage to it, it crossed through the normie barrier.
It did.
Like, look, normies are not in there in the stupid political combat of social media. Maybe they are in their own way on Facebook somewhere, but in the places that sadly too many of us still gather, trying not to gather there as much anymore. But we're used to that type of just degradation. My brother isn't. And I showed you a text he sent me, and I'm not talking out of school, my dear brother, but like it crossed through his barrier, and he was just like, "What?
Yeah.
How? What?
Yeah.
What kind of garbage person would do this?"
One of the stranger dynamics of the week was seeing Nick Fuentes like put up a video about, or someone circulating a video of him talking about this, saying like it's just deplorable to make fun of someone in a circumstance like this to try to gain some political advantage.
Fuentes is getting to
when
you.
this happens.
You're spending way too much time.
Not at all deplorable
But no,
to say Jews.
Of course.
Yeah.
But this is the thing.
Fill in the blank.
There probably shouldn't be an opportunity like this for Nick Fuentes to outflank the president of the United States
on
basic morality.
Yeah.
But then the other response, which I found like equally like, are you kidding, is, and I'm not going to attribute this to anyone, figure this out. Trump's Rob Reiner tweet is awful, but this tick is baked into his personality, and no amount of media outrage, it's just media outrage, will change it. So most of the intellectuals on the right, capital R, will simply ignore it and focus on policy, which is a sensible course of action. This is the Tao of Trumpism.
Yeah, that was.
What is this in that? In that passage?
This is just Chris Rufo. That's just Chris Rufo soiling himself in public again.
Is
Chris Rufo.
Chris
Yeah, it
Rufo?
is. It is. Intellectuals.
Yeah.
I was about to say that the cadence, the syntax.
By the way, talk about writing out how you're out of touch. It's like, well, us intellectuals, it's like, yeah, but like Matt's brother, what do you say to people like that? What do you say to people who actually react viscerally to the guy who is the vessel for your politics being a shitbag?
Yeah.
Like, you need to keep people on side. It's not something you're like, well, that's just who he is.
And focus on the long-term wins on policy. Like when Charlie Kirk died, Chris Rufo was in there throwing haymakers on people who were reacting badly to it. And was there policy associated with that? Absolutely. J.D. Vance was saying you should go to people who are saying these things publicly and help get them fired. There are people who spent time in jail, like 37 days in jail from someone like making a Facebook post comment. I don't even know what the comment was, and it kind of doesn't matter.
What were they arrested for?
Making a comment about in the United States of America.
But what was the charge? Well, why were they in jail?
Threatening violence or something?
It has to be some. There has to be some fake charge.
Yeah, like that was the pretext that I think Pam Bondi was trying to gin up or something.
But that is policy too. A speech crackdown in the wake of people's reaction is so. If I'm focusing on the policy, there's no Tao. You just motherfuckers who lied to yourselves about how you were on the side of free speech, went on this jihad against people reacting badly to Charlie Kirk, and now you're doing Tao with Trump and focusing on his sweet wins, like taking 10% of any company that he's interested in. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You're just not intellectual enough to understand this.
That is
Matt
absolutely
Welch.
true.
This is
100%
what you do
true.
when you have power, you've seized power, and you will always have the power. Obviously.
4 legs bad, 2 legs good.
I mean, as long as he keeps doing this stuff and glazing Trump, he will have the power.
We'll see.
So for what?
We'll see.
Okay.
8 more months.
That's
And then the response is always, how many wins do you have? Like, I don't try to win. I try to go get my daughter to school in the morning. I don't give a shit about that. But anyway.
Okay. Well,
all right.
We should probably wrap this up. If you want to come correct the record, dude, you can. The door's always open to you.
What are you talking about?
Anyways,
you didn't even name the motherfucker.
Someone else did.
He said Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, exactly.
She wants
well,
to
Kim
come.
is definitely welcome.
Yeah,
she is welcome.
You are such
Melania is welcome.
Melania,
she is.
That would be fun.
Kim and Melania. We could have Kim and Melania together.
I think just Melania by
Ladies
herself.
first, we'd call it.
I got a Kim story for you after the break, after we leave.
Oh,
all right.
All right.
Bye.
Tina,
Bye.
No, Tina, thank you. Bye.
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 She's part of the group.
Oh.
We know of new methods of attack. The Trojan horse.